I have here 3 scrolls painted by Chinese artists, all modern period. This one is from Taiwan, and it's kind of a landscape in the traditional style, which was the reason I bought it. I was in Taiwan, and I had just graduated from college not long before that, and I took a course in Chinese landscape painting of classical style. And this artist is clearly continuing in that tradition. So some of the features that are typical of that include the 3 layers of, or 3, maybe say multiple layers of perspective. And in fact, it's not perspective, but trying to create the feeling of depth through layering. So what I mean is, this lower section is the closest to the viewer and has the most detail. And the middle section is a little bit further away. And at the very top, indicating the furthest distance, is the foggiest and filmiest part of the image. So one point of interest is that these paintings often include a house or some kind of building, so that when you look at the height of the mountains behind, and then look at this building, you can see how tall the mountain would be in comparison to a human. So this building seems to be some kind of a pleasure pavilion, and I think that deck to the right might be a moon viewing deck, and there's a little very basic plank bridge over the top of the waterfall. And I presume this is the title of the painting and or the name of the artist. So this red stamp, I presume, is the artist's stamp. It's kind of faded, huh? So I think maybe this might be the name, but I have no idea how to read it. And even ask Chinese people, they don't know. So it's a mystery. This was not expensive. And in fact, compared to classical Chinese landscapes, it's sort of, you know, in a much different category, but still, considering the price, I thought it was worth it. And it's really sort of a calming thing to have around. And this one is quite a contrast, this next one. This is probably a much younger artist, because the landscape I purchased about more than 30 years ago. This one was given to me by a young man from China, from Shanghai, who came to work at our company, and when he left Japan, he gave me these two paintings, which I'm pretty sure are by modern painters. And I also asked him to read the the characters on these, and he couldn't, so let's start with the flower one first. Now I think this is probably, well, it's hard to say. It's either plum blossoms or peach blossoms. And this work is on paper in contrast to the landscape, which is on silk. So this is sort of a tempera type colors, as opposed to the India ink or ink painting on silk, classical style. So you can see a lot of the interesting techniques the artist used. For example, it's not showing up too well on the video, but right here there's the moon is indicated. Apparently he put some screen or a shape over the paper and then spattered very light blue color around it, and then when he removed the round shape, the image of the moon is there. And then a few drops of white paint here and there indicate snowflakes. So Japanese paintings I've seen often have the moon with plum blossoms, but plum blossoms don't usually bloom in such proliferation, such thick coverage of fluorescence on the branches. But the trunk of the tree is looks very much like a plum. So whether it's plum or peach, the color is also more like peach blossoms, I think. But at any rate, it's a very nice piece. I'm sure it's not worth a whole lot of money, but it really adds quite a dazzling, bright note. And then here's another, also from my friend, and also could be from Shanghai. And this is also a sort of modern interpretation of a classical landscape. And in this case, the building is placed in the lowest part of the composition. So it looks like a farmhouse with a thatched roof. And it has trees with pink blossoms and another tree with either green blossoms or green spring-like leaves coming out. And there seems to be a boat or something in the water not far from where the waterfall is coming down. So this is the human perspective. And then as you move up, you see these very simply delineated flock of birds that really gives you a zoom, what's the right word, a zoom out of perspective to show you how vast the space is. And there's a sort of a sea of clouds. And then another waterfall coming down that might well be connected to the waterfall in the lower part of the painting. And then there are several layers of mountains there. And on this inscription I can see this means spring. So this is probably the title of the piece, talking about spring. It's definitely spring-like. Now these are also typical mounting styles for scroll paintings. They leave an open space at the top of the mounting and an open space at the bottom. And these are called heaven and earth. And the heaven section is bigger, that is longer, because it was expected that the viewer would be looking at the painting from a fairly low perspective, so that a balance between heaven and earth could be maintained by making the heaven part a bit bigger. And then they have these dowels mounted on them that are used for rolling them up. And this is one way you can check on the value of one of these scrolls, because these are just wooden dowels. If it's a really high quality painting, they might use something really expensive like ivory, maybe in the most luxurious case for this purpose. And then this classical scroll also has these wind tabs, and it's not too clear exactly what the function of these things are. It looks like they might be used to, when you roll it up, maybe to tie it closed or something, but that's not. First of all, it doesn't really work that way because of the way it's made. And the name of these things means something like a wind tab. So maybe they're supposed to flutter in the wind, I don't know for sure. The other two scrolls don't have those. This is a more simple mounting. I suppose it could be that these two works are both on paper. Maybe they don't use those wind tabs in the case of a paper painting.